Hi, Shiri.
Well, I'm getting used to this, It became like my scheduled thing. This is our fifth date or girly girl talk, but you don't do coffee and girls, so I won't call it that. So I'll call it like our profound engagement.
Our very profound and our meaningful relationship.
Yes.
I think that it's more than just coffee catch up, and that's what I love about it. Mm-hmm. It's us diving deeper into conversation, and I learn a lot from you, so I also appreciate you sharing it.
So what we're going to talk about today?
So today we're going to take a step back. So we have been talking about happiness, and we have been talking about what we can do in order to make ourselves feel a bit better. Mm-hmm. And then also how we're not preparing ourselves for success as society and as companies, the way that we're building processes for human beings. And today we're going to take a step back and say, why does this matter? And we're going to talk about the price that we pay for being single. There is the rent and all of those components that we can start doing the math. I think that places like New York are more equipped for single people dollar-wise because there's the studio option versus if I'm thinking of a Tel Aviv, it's either you live with roommates or you have a one bedroom. There's not like the studio option. So in that case, it is much more expensive to be single real estate-wise. So obviously there's like those very fundamental. And if we think about our mobile bill, there's so much incentive as if you're not single, but if you're bringing multiple lines, whether it's two or a family, you pay less per device. Then
a family package.
A family package. Then it's funny, it's funny, not funny, but like my gym offers a membership that if you bring your partner, you pay less for the both of you. So obviously there's all those
everything is bundled
partners.
Like to be with a few people. But I feel also what you're saying, it's regarding real estate, maybe in New York, that it's more accommodating because there are areas around us that it's supposed to be for single life. I feel also over here it's more acceptable in the way that there are more people that we were talking a little bit about that, about going to the movies on your own or sitting in a restaurant or by the bar and having a drink. And this culture is less family oriented.
I almost want it to not be true. I almost want, if we talked about behavioral psychology in a sense and how you sometimes can use friction and pain in order to drive people into figuring out a solution. For me, choosing to live in New York and allowing this to be easier for me to be single, it's also not driving me to solve this solution. And that takes me into the next very pricey element of being single, which is all these like egg freezing happening now, which is extremely costly. In New York, I was exploring that when I just moved here. It was about... They were talking with me about $15,000 per round. Some people do like 3.
Yeah.
And extremely expensive. This is essentially also only on the female part. So it's this tax on single women that is extremely costly and is significantly weighing on women that are not finding relationship early age. And I think, any person that wants to do it, I'm all for it. But I do think as a society, it's one of those things that in order to continue and making sure that we are getting kids in the age that we're supposed to, biology-wise, we're figured out a way around it that is costly and that is also not helping us really solve the problem that we don't want to have kids too late. Like we want to have kids in our 30s.
You know what? I feel it puts women your age in so much pressure that I never seen so much pressure in my life when I think about it, because my generation is the generation of doing it all, but you're getting married early and then you have the kids and then you have to work and the roles in the family are obvious, what everyone's supposed to do. And now there is a way that you're supposed to be young. You're supposed to have kids. You're supposed to raise them on your own, and you need to have a lot of money in order to do that. So it's all on you. And I feel that this kind of a pressure on women today that you need to look a certain way, behave a certain way, have a certain kind of a job. There are so many successful women in this area, and it's not an easy task at all. Because instead of helping women, it's actually making it even harder for them.
So I think I agree with you. I think it is making it very hard today. And it's also making us almost feel like we can push it further. We can do these egg freezing and we buy ourselves time and we buy insurance. Not necessarily being true. Like a lot of, I've heard stories that it doesn't really come fruitful after. I think the only good part that is going to come out of it is that men, I think, are not understanding exactly what's happening. And I think that essentially this is an opportunity for the shift in power between the genders, because for women, if we are going to figure out, and we have been, many women have been able to, but if we are going to figure out how we're going to be single mothers, and we're doing all these egg freezing, and we're able to figure out how to finance it, and we're able to be single mothers, and there's these communities that are starting to gather of women doing babies by themselves and helping each other and transferring the furniture that they bought and everything, and just like those communities. At the end of the day, for a man to bring kids to the world by themselves, it's going to be much more costly and much more significant. So the balancing powers that they currently have, by they can do it at whatever stage, and the women are fearful that they wouldn't be able to, we're essentially, women are building the bricks now to be able to do it without them.
Yeah, well, until the AI women will come, the robots, and then
they're not going to carry their babies. At the end of the day, they'll need a womb. And I think that I'm hoping we wouldn't get there. I don't want to bring a kid by myself. I see all these like sweet videos of a woman telling her husband that she's pregnant, and the father is so excited. I want those videos for myself. So not to say all of this is what I want for women to solve this by themselves, but I do think that the one good thing about it is that we are women by just being forced to do it. I think that we're building that shift in power and that balance of power that we've hoped for such a long time. So at least that's for me is like the light in it. But I would hope that we would solve the actual issue, where, again, going back to where we started, is we're not supposed to be single in our 30s. This is the prime time of building a family. It's so interesting, like looking at this trend. I don't want to go out after 8. I want to be at home. I don't want to be in parties. Why is this a trend? Because we're not supposed to be in our 30s at home considering whether we want to go to a bar, whether we want to go outside. This is the time that we're supposed to be with the families. So I feel almost as if like our biology, our internal sense does not want to go out. But then because we don't have the family to be with at home and to have the kids to feed and all of that, we're pushed to, okay, we should be outside. We should be trying to figure out, like, finding people. We shouldn't be networking. We should be outside and not at home. And then there's this trend of, no, but I don't want to go out in the middle of the week every night.
I was thinking about two things. I was thinking about Sex in the City, which was happening during my time. I haven't watched Emily in Paris. Maybe I should, but I can't yet.
Yeah.
But Sex in the City were women that were around, back in the day, like independent women, Gen X, going out, looking for men, experimenting, trying different kind of things. But in the end of the day, it was a love story. Like, we wanted the connection. We wanted Carrie to marry Big, although he was horrible. I haven't seen, like, now there's like a different kind of season. And now she's with Aiden, which I liked from the beginning. But we were rooting for the romance. We want the happily ever after, even if it's not going to be amazing. But that show did touch, and still is touching, different kind of topics that I feel as women we can feel connected to. And the other thing I was thinking about is I look sometimes in Instagram accounts of very, very, very young women. I'm talking they're in their 20s, having families, having babies, very much domesticated, making their own bread, their own Oreos cookies. Yeah. Like, I am fascinated by it because there is something very calming in that, although I know it's not real. But I was like, oh my God, like, they're so young, almost the age of my oldest daughter. And I wouldn't want my daughter to be like making bread out of nothing in the kitchen. No, I wouldn't. Not at all. That's not what I wish for my daughter at the age of 23. She's now traveling the world. She's in Nepal, volunteering in an all-girls orphanage. I want her to see the world before she's being domesticated. So I feel that this trend is happening now because women went maybe too far with all this having a family or being married. And the question that comes to me, and I will go back to it, is why do you think you're single? Really?
I don't know. And I honestly don't want to go there. Because I think I don't want to go there. I don't know why I'm single. It's self-work. It's I don't know. It is what it is. I don't want to be in this situation. It is what it is. I'm doing my best. I don't know.
So the price that you're talking about is not only emotional, but it's also a financial toll. What else?
It is. It's definitely. So I think I've recently noticed and realized another very big price that I've been paying. And it's really easy to see it when you look at people that are doing relocation, because then it's very, very significant, the difference. I'll share it through a story. I recently had a good friend that is married with 3 kids. She just moved to the city. And she took a few months to get the kids acclimated, finding babysitters for them and everything. And then in one of our conversations, she was extremely stressed. It's time for me to find a job. And I told her, listen, I've seen it happen so many times. Don't be stressed. Let me tell you what would happen. You would either go to a dinner party with your husband, or you would go and pick up the kids from school, and a mother from school or a father or someone that works with your husband would just propose a job. Don't be stressed about it. Take a week to just find your classes, find a gym that you want to sign into, get your life organized in the things that you want. And I promise you'll find a job. Don't stress about LinkedIn. Don't stress about getting your CV, whatever. And if you want help, I'll help you, but don't stress about it. 2 weeks after, when we talk again, she's in contract for a job. She didn't even updated her CV. So this person that works with her husband just knew about this job that is coming, and she told him okay, I need to update my CV. He said, no worries, send me whatever you have. I'll tell them that it's not updated. She got the job. This is an example, and I've seen it over and over with people that are moving here. Obviously, there's a price also for being married. I'm putting this aside because I don't want to derail. But there is something that as a single person, when I network with people, it's a multiple by 1. Mm-hmm. And I need to really work into being in the minds of the people around me, constantly thinking about the fact that I'm looking. So if they hear about something, they'll think about me. When you're married and when you're having kids, you have all these circles that a single person in their 30s do not have. We used to have our army, our college. When you're in your 30s, you no longer have that. And also by this remote work, you also don't have this physical connection with people continuously. And living in a place like New York, you don't have that strong community. You see people every once in a while, but it's not like having your husband that goes to sleep with you every night. Thinking about the fact that you need to find a job. When you're not single, you're in multiplies. You're in the multiplies of having another person in your household thinking about and trying to network for you. You're in the multiplies of also your kids and their school, their classes. So you have all these communities that you're just tapping into just by being a part of a family, of a household.
This is so true, because that's how I got my first job here. It's totally true. We came here and my kids were very, very young. And the thing is that when you come with kids, you have to go out. You have to meet people. It's forced on you. You have to go. You sign them up to school. And schools here, sometimes people whine because there's so many things that you have to go for your kids' school. But it's connections. That's how you make the connections. You sit in the park and you see people around you and you have the small talk and then you put yourself out there. So it was funny because the way that I found my job, working and teaching in the high school, was through a friend that she was an older woman and she wanted to practice her Hebrew. So I used to come with my son. He was 3 months in the stroller, and I used to talk with her. And later on, she told me, you know what, there is this opening in the school my daughter went to. They're looking for a teacher for Intro to Psychology. And that was that. I've been there for almost 18 years. But you need to put your foot in the door. And it does come from the family because in a way you're being dropped into the water. Like you are forced to be out there and you are forced to learn the language also for your kids, and you need to be in contact with others. Although it has its own hardships, yes, obviously. And I also see many people around my age. The kids are grown, they're out of the house, they're out of the nest, and they're now asking themselves, okay, we've done our part, what now? And they may look at their spouse and they say, I'm not sure this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. So then they go out there, but they haven't been out there for so long. They don't know. All these apps, all these places, this dating scene, they haven't been there for like almost 30 years. There is so much. We talked about choices and having so much choices. So even more than splitting the house and moving to a smaller apartment and doing all that stuff, and usually there is resent there in that story. I was very lucky because it was very mutual and amicable and it was nice. Otherwise, it could have been a nightmare. But all of a sudden, you're thrown into this world, and the price is big, because even if you didn't want to be with that person, all of a sudden, after all these long years of being with couples, you go and it's empty and you're on your own and no one is waiting for you there.
Yeah, that's a big part of it also. Like going back to an empty home at the end of every day, and especially with remote working. I remember, so when I was applying for the reality show, Married at First Sight, a big part of it. So I didn't live with any romantic partner before that. And they asked me, how do you think that would work? And are you anxious about it? Because they were anxious about it themselves. They were going to match me with someone and I was going to live with them for 2 months, maybe longer. And I said, no, that's the part that I look for the most. There's something about going home when you know that there is someone there every day that is so much comforting, especially, again, I cannot emphasize this enough, in this remote working environment where we're so much alone at home, that having someone that you know, that you don't need to make any plans, but they would be there at the end of the day to make sure you arrived home, to make sure nothing happened to you. We talked about in a previous episode when we talked about relationship and how this catching up and having coffee. And I want someone that if I was sick throughout the week, they knew about it when I was sick, not 2 months after when we catch up, because then it's not helpful. There's something about having someone at your house that if something is happening, he's there, and not needing to call someone and let them know, hey, I'm sick, I might need your help, because there's someone that you're going back to.
Yeah. And I think that's the bond that is being in a relationship. But also we need to realize that when we're with someone, there's a lot of compromises. And it's funny because I've been separated for almost 8 years now, and I'm accommodated to my routines, the things that I like, how I like them. And all of a sudden, imagining somebody coming into my life. I have this joke of someone sitting on the couch asking me, okay, so what's for dinner? I will freak out. I will be like, oh, no. I've been there and I don't want to do it again. But I understand the need into that, because one of the things that I like, moving to a smaller apartment, and now, as I said, I have my youngest daughter with me and my son now is visiting, so he's staying there. We see each other all the time because it's small. And my daughter was saying, oh, I miss the big house. And I was like, why? She was like, I can be running around and she has her own room, obviously. I can be here and I can do that. And I was like, but you know what? You can be in your room and I wouldn't see you for days. And I actually like it that it's small and cramped, and you're forced while I cook to sit here next to me. And when you come in and we have these conversations, and we were laughing until midnight, we're talking about family stories about my older daughter, and there is this a relationship. But I feel that this bond not necessarily needs to be with someone that you're intimate with. I really rely, as I said, about girlfriends.
Yeah, but look at the example that you just gave. You have kids living with you. Yeah. And I think that, again, going back to that, it's not necessarily your romantic partner, but it is having someone in your life that is there and that is at the end of the day, and even taking care of, even having kids to take care of. I think another big aspect of it is, so if I'm thinking about career-wise, there's so much waste in my time weekly that I know that this is the time that I'm intended to invest in my kids. I will need to catch up with that later when I will eventually have them in a later stage when I would not be in my prime health, knock on wood. But I mean, as time goes by, obviously there are implications to having kids in an older stage. That I know that today we constantly look at it from a side of the mothers working and how hard it is to have your kids and to be a more working mother. It's extremely hard. Yeah. The alternative of that, I would say, is also we need to consider that the single people at that time are not necessarily making much more salary-wise, but they sometimes work much longer hours because I have the entire day and night to work. It might not be as efficient because I don't have to stop in order to get my kids out, but I have some more time, so I'll work more. And I think that it's, again, like, my 30s are intended for me to grow my family. And it's also a price that I'm paying, but the fact that I'm investing in my career, not necessarily being as efficient as I could have had. And even if there were a limitation to it, I would have taken that over. I think that there's something about being single and working that is, I can push, but if we're going back to the lost opportunities that I have by the multiple of one instead of a multiple of a household, and that I don't think that I'm exceeding the career level that I could have had if I had other people around me in my core household thinking about my improvement. And there was another thing continuance to that. It hurt me so much. I was with a married couple of mine that, again, they recently moved here. And they said something about, I don't remember, it was a store or something that I'm not familiar with. Like, they were like, you've been here 7 years and you don't know that? I'm like, everything that I know, I literally had to teach myself from credit card, from bank accounts, from renting a house, everything. There's something about having 2 people or 3 people in the house that you learn much more, and having other mothers in your community that you can learn from. There was no one else in my household. I needed to work extra hard in order to get other people to learn from. I needed to call my friends and be very diligent about my ask for them. I needed to surround people, but so much basic things when we do relocation. Yeah. I had to teach myself, and I had no one else to learn from.
I never thought about it like that because I came in different. And when you say it this way, I have so much compassion because
I look at your eyes. It's like they're shining.
Because I am thinking about, in the way I was coming with the kids and with the family, and there was a lot of things going on, but I didn't have the luxury. In a way, I had to be in the world. I had to pedal around, and I was feeling I was missing so much because I was stuck in the family. But it's true; it's the small things that happens to you towards the day. Because when we were supposed to pay the bills or something like that, and if something fell, I will go to my spouse and say, "Oh my God, why did you pay it? Why did you see?" There was a way for me to throw it on someone else.
To share the responsibilities.
Yeah. And now you are the grown-up person. You are only responsible for yourself, for better or for worse. But there is a silver lining, I feel, that I see there, because I think that the 30s for a woman are her prime. And it's true, because usually it goes towards the family, and it's very, very, very hard to be a young mother. Now that I'm off the hook, out of the woods, since my kids are getting older and it does get easier, those first years are excruciating.
They're excruciating, but I'll still need to go through them.
But I tell you what I found, and that's something interesting, because I have a close friend of mine, and he's like a later father. He's around my age and he has very young kids. And he's like, oh my God. And I said, you know what? I know how it feels, but you now have the knowledge. And there is something that he had it out of his system, like the partying, the going out, like wearing beautiful clothes. People call you like, are you ready to go to here? Are you ready to go for there? And you're like, yes, give me 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I can come. Like he had the luxury also of the free choice that he can be in charge of his own time. So everything comes in its own time. So now your time is, yes, to be 48 and run around after toddlers because you started maybe a little bit later. But the thing is, that there is something so much fun to be 30 and be free in
That's
in
where
a way.
I disagree.
And I'm putting it from my...
I don't enjoy this freedom.
So putting it from my perspective is the way that things will happen in their own time. And there is something that when you become a mother in an older age, that you are calmer because you know what's going to be done. You don't feel that you're missing out. Because FOMO, I do think it is a thing. And it happened to me. I came here and my kids were very young and I was a young mom. I was like in my 30s and people were going out and people were going to parties and it's New York and I was stuck home with very young kids. And
what age was that?
I was in my 30s. Yeah. But you know what the funny thing is? I decided to have my youngest daughter when I was 39. And that kind of motherhood was much calmer to me.
Yeah, but it was also the third one. So you already knew what you were expecting. And yes, I think, and you mentioned like the example you gave was a man. I think that yes, there are a lot of people that might want that freedom in their 30s. I didn't. I don't. For me, again, I prefer to go to sleep at 8. I'm not looking to run after those parties. It's not something that I want and it's not something that I'm enjoying. So it is something that I feel like is a struggle and I wish I didn't have to go through this by myself. But it is something that I feel almost like I was forced to go through this. And I agree with you. Everything happens at the time. And that's also why I don't feel like I want to push myself into, okay, like within the next 12 months, I need to bring a kid by myself. I want to bring a kid when I have the emotional capacity to really take care of them. But it is something that is, we talked about it in our first episode. This is not where I want to be. This is not, I think that one of the biggest challenges is like, you asked me why I'm single. Tell me what to do. Tell me what to do to not be single. And this is what I want this is what we're going to talk a lot about.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of us are in a position that we don't want to be at, and we're willing to put the effort. Yeah. We're willing to put what needs to be done, but tell us what needs to be done.
Oh, that's a very good question.
No one knows. Yeah. And it's like there's something like magical. There's someone that is planning our plan.
I will try to sparkle the spark. And you know what they say, there is always like a bigger program. And I do try to listen to my instinct and to be intuitive, but I also really believe to put yourself out there. Like that will be the solution. But the other thing for me is I will put myself out there, but I'm not willing to compromise because that is my stage. The thing is
I think I want to pull the threads on compromise. I think compromise to me, it might not be the right word, but I think that today we're putting, similar to how we put so much pressure on what the type of job that we're going to take, and that needs to give us meaning and career, so many things. I think also like on a partner, we're expecting it. We grew on the fairy tale. We are expecting it to be the prince. There's so much that we're expecting it to save our life, and it's lowering down on like understanding what's true.
You know what I say? It's always like, and they lived happily ever after, but nobody tells us what happened in the happily ever after. And knowing the princes, they're awful. They're awful.
Yeah.
Like the way that they come and they're being portrayed, because the moment that Cinderella had the kids and he had to go to some kind of, I don't know, like faraway land and she was stuck there, I'm sure she wasn't happy. The idea is, I feel there is something that we say is finding in your everyday life the things that you're looking for. Meaning that even, let's say that somebody has a job that they don't love, but in the job they can find things that they do like. It can be getting the coffee. It can be the one person that says hi to them. It can be a specific project that they're having. So there are the nice things that are happening during the day. And I feel the same way in a relationship. Because since you are in a stage where you want to create a family, and I'm in a stage where I had my family and I wanted to to be part of a couple, but with the benefits, with the fun of it, not of raising a family, then I feel that this is what you need to concentrate on. And my answer will be is taking the magnificent that you are and that kind of a calling and putting it out there, which is very vulnerable on one hand, but also you need to specify what are the things that you are willing to let go and what are the things that you are there. This has to happen. I do value very strongly the women that I'm around and what I wish for them. And I see them with all their might and their beauty and their resilience and their power and the vulnerability of asking what they need. And unfortunately, sometimes I see my friends and they're not necessarily with the men that is the man of their dreams. And they're willing to let go of certain kind of things in order to have others which understand. And I'm like, that's okay. But you will make the list of what you're looking for at the end of the day. And I believe that person or a few are there. But while you go there, enjoy the time of here and now. That's what you have.
I am enjoying the here and now. I don't want it to make sound as like I'm waking up miserable. Like I'm enjoying my life. I love my life. And I am growing the journey that I walk through. But it's definitely like the life that I currently have is not my plan A.
But you know what? It never is. When I got married, I thought we are going to get older together. And when we're 85, we'll be holding hand and going together hand in hand. And I love to see old couples walking hand in hand.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yesterday, I went to a show, and after the show, I was walking in the street and I saw this couple holding hands. And I was like, they're so sweet. But then what I was thinking, I'm like, who knows? Maybe they're widowers. And this is like their second chance. And that's why they're walking hand in hand.
It's so funny that you say it. So I was at the Mark Hotel having dinner with a friend. And I saw this couple, like old couple in their 70s. And the woman stood up and to the bar. And the guy, such a sweet like grandpa, he stood up to take a photo of her. So I asked the guy that was with me to go, and he's like a photographer, to go and take a picture of them together. Because I have this like, I love when I see sweet couples, like one taking the other, to ask them if they want a photo together. So I sent him to take the photo. And I was having the same thoughts of you, like, oh, it's so sweet. They grew all together. And then we got to chit chat with them after. And apparently, no, it's like they're recently dating or something. But it was like still so sweet.
So you see, this like, it's so
this
cute.
Is life, yeah.
This is life. And I feel, but also there is romance throughout life. I feel that we were doctrined to believe that there are a certain age where you meet the love of your life, and there is a certain age when you have children, and there's a certain age when you grow all together. But all of a sudden, I feel many truths that I thought are truth are not true.
So I'm thinking through what you're saying, and maybe, but I think that the society that we're currently living at, that is the truth. That is the truth, that in your 30s, you're supposed to have a family, and this is what you need to work through. And there's a price to pay if you're not doing that. Obviously, for some people, maybe for men, it's less of a price. For women, it's more pricey. And we talked about some of the things that we're paying the price. But maybe in some like future, it's not. I think it's still, I think biology-wise and like for so many reasons, it is intended for us to build our family in our 30s. And deviating from that, we pay a price for it. Yeah. And I have to say, you asked me, thinking through what I can do, what I'm trying to do now is actually surround myself with people that are celebrating their relationship. I think far too married people and people that have kids allow themselves to me about don't have kids. Like when you're young, it's like a nightmare. Don't ever have kids. Like having a relationship is so hard. And they might do it either for themselves, like venting. They might do it for making me feel better. But there's something about it is, oh, so don't have kids, but you just had your third one. How does that work? I'm really bringing people into my life that are, I have just a friend now that is pregnant, and she said, I feel like a goddess. Or another person that I met that she was talking about the giving birth, and she was saying it from a perspective I haven't heard recently. And she was celebrating it. She was like, I was in the delivery room and I was thinking about my husband and how sad it is that he's not going to experience this. And far too often I heard the opposite. I heard, oh, men cannot tolerate like giving birth. Men cannot deal with this. And it was such a liberating and such empowering thing to hear it from a perspective of someone that is celebrating being pregnant and giving birth and how calm she was. And I have to say to my mother, she's the epiphany of that. My mother loved giving birth. It was like her favorite day. I just had my birthday, so I sent flowers to her. I was like, because I kind of realized it was her day more than myself.
Absolutely. Yeah, I hope my kids will hear that when they're older and realize who did the hard work here.
Yeah, like it was her day. He talked about Sex and the City before. I think that there's something that for us, grew up from one side, the prince, and they lived happily after. From one side, it's like the Sex and the City, single and enjoying life. You're lost in between. And then you have the apps, and then you have like remote working. So it's all of that. It's very confusing into maybe a relationship is not that valuable. Maybe it's not. Maybe one of the reasons that I'm single is I'm afraid to be in a relationship because I constantly think about how hard it is to be in a relationship, how like it's what happened the day after. We were constantly being afraid of what that entailed, and if someone would truly like all this divorce stats, and I don't want to go into a relationship.
Actually, seeing you, I don't think you are afraid of relationship one bit.
Yeah.
I think you're very invested and you're very ready, and I think it's just also a matter of time and a matter of finding. I don't want to say the right person. I don't believe there's only one. There are a few, but it's going through the noise and finding out. But I want to relate to what you're saying about this remote working. All this remote doing when you are not being surrounded with people is horrible. Like I talked with some friends of mine and they were inviting me to different places. Let's go here, let's go there. And I was funny. And they live in the suburbs. And I said, listen, I'm going to say it very bluntly. I like going out and I like seeing the people that I love. I can't go every night. It's too much. But when you invite me to a place where I have options. Because if I'm sitting with the same people, with the same friends, the same couples, it doesn't open. I don't have any choices. So sitting in the house, it's nice, but I am pruning. I do want to be in a relationship. So let's go out. Let's go to the city. Let's go to see a play. Let's go in an environment where I have options to meet other people. And I think this is crucial. And this is one of the things that I've been doing. I go to places that I like. Like today I went to this bookstore that I saw, and I love books. I'm such a geek. But I have to go back to that place. And that is something I'm doing for myself. I want to sit there and I want to read a book and be around people. And it was so invigorating because I went and I had a lunch and I was talking with the manager of the restaurant and he gave me his card and he said, listen, I'm having this opening. To be out there, to put yourself out there and to make connections. It can be also friendly connections. I always say it doesn't matter because when you put yourself out there and you speak with one person, that person might not be the one for you, but he has a friend that has a friend that will be that person.
I'm a big believer in that, and that's why I also have these membership places that I really love to go multiple times to, and because it alleviates the pressure. There's one night that you go and like you need to meet the people there, but there's something so nice about going to Soho House or Chez Margot or Equinox or like those places that you constantly like.
Or the pickleball that you started playing.
Yeah,
exactly.
And seeing the same people over and over again. There's something that I think is building a better relationship.
And also you're making the connections because it's different kind, it's different genders and you're being out there. But the other thing that I want to add is the presence that a person brings. And we were talking about toxic relationships a little bit. We touched that. We're not going to plunge too much. But my presence comes from this happiness idea of coming with curiosity and openness. Like I'm very, very aware of how I want to present myself when I go out. And the thought that I have in my head is I am curious to see what the day is going to bring.
Yeah.
I'm open to that. And people get the vibe. I feel it. People always come to me and ask for directions. And people always ask if the food is okay. And they try to make a small talk because people feel your energy.
Yeah.
And they're being engaged to that energy, to what you bring. So if I will be like, oh my God, with that kind of negativity in me, which obviously we all have. We have our ups and downs. But if I will carry it with me all the time, it will drag that kind of people, that kind of emotions towards me. So that is what I will invite. But if it's even a body posture, I come open and I'm willing to see what the world is about to offer to me, then automatically this is what I'm channeling and this is what people get the vibe from.
Yeah. I have, you mentioned ups and downs. Like when we have our good hair day,
Yep.
I would be able to talk to the people that in the elevators, random people in the subway, like I would be able to do that. And then I have those days that I wake up half, not for myself. I have to say what I started doing is during those days, I wouldn't push myself.
Yes.
I would be like, no, this is okay to like today. I don't feel my best. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to be like open. I don't want to. This is okay. I allow myself to have those days and not to feel like every day I need to be out there. And you mentioned also the options and like when you meet people, like telling them that's what you need. I also, sometimes when I go out, like I'll ask my girlfriends if they want to go out, and if they'll suggest to meet at home, I would be like, listen, if I'm at home, I'm at my home. If we're like, I need people around me. Like when I go out of my home, I need the energy of feeling like I'm outside. It's not so much of like men hunting.
No.
I don't need a man to be there, but it is about being outside of the home and not moving from one home to another.
That's exactly my point, is to be out there in an environment that it has a different kind of people and different kind of vibes, and bringing yourself with that kind of vibe and making those different kind of connections. And I think at the end of the day, we are social beings. And you were saying about there are the days of what we said, the permission to be human, as Tal calls it. And those are the days that I'm like, I don't want to go out today. And it's self-care. It doesn't come from a place of like me being miserable, but it comes from a place that I know what I need, and I need some space and I need some quiet.
Exactly. Self-care,
That's the self-care.
self-compassion.
And that's also a relationship with myself. People sometimes, they will push themselves to do stuff that don't sit well with them, either to please others or because they're supposed to, versus, no, this is what I need.
I have to touch on that because I have so many of my girlfriends that are like single in my age, and they would come to me like sharing that someone matched them with someone, be like, why are you so picky? You need to go on a date. You're old. You need to. And what I tell them, don't go.
Yeah.
You sometimes feel that they don't go. And I think it's far too often when we allow ourselves the permission to not do something that we don't want to, we essentially are willing to do it. But we do it from a place of we don't go because those people told me I'm too picky, but I went because I wanted to go.
Well, remember, I told you about the movie Inside Out too. Like I go back to that. The emotions inside us, they know. They know. When we feel something doesn't sit well, the body knows, the gut feeling knows, the brain knows. And many times we'll do it and they go, oh, why did I go? Because we knew that where it's going to take us. Yeah. So that is I think the word, it's not picky. You do you when you need to do what you need to do. And the thing is there is okay to have some kind of a choice of what I want to be, but again, not coming from a place of, oh my God, like I'm so desperate, please save me. We're not desperate. No. I don't need to be saved. I can save myself, but it will be nice. It will be nice if someone will throw me like the wheel for me, like when I'm drowning. That will be nice, although I can swim. So the thing, it doesn't come from a place of being desperate. It comes from a place, as I said, of that kind of openness. I'm here, world. See me. I'm willing to do the work, but also...
Yeah, you know what? I'm like willing to do the work. I think that I got to a place where I'm like, I'm letting it go. I know that I am who I am. And I think it's funny, I saw this video where there was this person that is teaching and another person on the stage. So he said to the other person, what if you're perfect just the way that you are? And what if you just need to let go and be who you are? And then he continues and he said, so now you're thinking about if you're letting go correctly, right? And I think that far too often we're constantly trying to work on ourselves. One thing that I do contemplate now is, do I need to work not on myself but on my surrounding? Mm-hmm. And so if you have croissants next to you every morning, you'll probably eat them. It's easier sometimes to work on your surroundings. So is New York and Manhattan the best place for me to live? Or do I want to live somewhere where it's more of a community and calmer, less options? And
that's a wonderful question.
And I haven't found like the right place that I want to be in that would be balancing the level of excitement out there and activity to do, but then also having a calmer life and just like cooking and gardening or whatever, like those more domesticated.
But this is the seed, like this is the seed that you're planting. And I love that because the question is, am I living in the right place? And I think that we'll talk maybe next episodes, but that's a very good starting point. Because am I in the right place or do I need a change? And by the way, the fact that you had birthday last week and all these questions totally match. They totally go together because our birthdays many times provoke these kind of questions about who we are, what we are.
So with me, the challenge is that it's not just birthday, it's every day. I challenge myself every day throughout the year. It's exhausting.
Yeah, exactly. Let it go.
Yeah, let it go.
I think that's a very good point.
Yeah.
You just to take a breath and let it go.
Yeah, and just live life. Live the journey that life brings and
be
go
in
with
the
flow.
moment.
Yeah.
And have conversations and invite good people.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm hoping for the single people in the audience that are listening that you've connected to something. And if you're feeling that like uphill battle, that this is something that maybe made you feel more seen. But I want to say to the married people in the audience, remember your single people that you love and think about how you potentially can see them and help them and be there for them. I have to say some of my brightest part of the day is when something happens and a friend just reach out to make sure that I'm okay. Like even like politically, or we had unfortunately a lot of things that happened like poorly, like geopolitical. So reaching out to someone and make sure that you see them. It's the Friday dinner, inviting people and not necessarily forcing them. Sometimes we like our Friday dinners by ourselves. Holidays, just make sure that if you have people that you love, that you invite them in a way that doesn't make them feel like a loser being by themselves, but just inviting them and teaching them and sharing
acts of kindness.
Yes.
Just be nice and kind.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah. And I do have to just add, I do love that there's a pain of being single because I want to be pushed into being in a relationship. There is some work to be done when you're in a relationship. So if it's like, it's positive, the fact that it's not that easy to be single. It's costly. Like, I love all that motivation in order to push us to be in a relationship. So,
and also working in the relationship itself. Nothing is easy, but that's part of the charm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, to be continued, definitely.
Until next time. Bye, everyone.